Welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda. It's Wednesday, so around here we spend our Wednesdays with Will. This is part of the Bardroom Shakespeare project. And yes, it is March, but I am still in my mind in the month of February and with the Merry Wives of Windsor. I just wanted to finish up my talk about this. I have seen a performance of this, recorded performance, not live. And I also wanted to do my rankings of this because I forgot to do it in the other video. So let me start with the performance that I saw. This is I believe, 2019 performance done by the Stratford Shakespeare Festival in Canada. None of the names of the actors rang a bell with me. And I'll tell you the major players in this. So Falstaff was Geraint Wyn-Davies. I hope I'm saying that right. Mr. Ford is Graham Abbey. Mr. Page is Michael Blake. Mrs. Page is Bridget Wilson, and Mrs. Ford is Sophia Walker. None of those names meant anything to me. They were all fantastic. Everyone in the show was fantastic. The actor who played Falstaff did remind me of someone. I think I may have seen him in something else. The Stratford Festival is a world-renowned Shakespeare festival, so it gets top-notch actors in it. So it is very likely that I have seen him perform in something else. So the way they approached this play in this production is they set it in the 1950s. And they set it in, we're going to say Canada because it was performed in Canada. With the exception of two characters who in the play have accents, all the performances is with a North American accent. The exceptions are Sir Hugh, who is Welsh, and Dr. Caius, who's French. Sir Hugh just has a Welsh accent. Dr. Caius is very overblown French accent. He's a very clownish character, and they really play it up in this production, which was a lot of fun, actually. I understood that character better in this production than I did when I listened to it and or read it. So that was great. They have a lot of physical humor in this. So there's humor in the play, of course, and they play it up. Like, you don't miss a joke in this. The way they perform, the way the performance is, the jokes are highlighted. So you won't miss a joke. And if it's a joke that, let's just say, was lost to the ages, like, it's not something that you could even explain to a modern audience and they would find funny. They still somehow kind of backed it up with some kind of physical humor. So there was still the effect that probably was originally there, but it was done through a physical act and not through the words, which I thought was very nice. A lot of potty humor. They play up the potty humor, and sometimes it is actual potty humor. I mean, there's a bedpan in one part. They use a lot of sort of the, what's the word I'm looking for? The archetypes, I guess, of what you think of a 1950s sort of thing. Like, there's some greasers who are kind of in the background, and there's kind of, there's a beatnik, all these, that's a little early, but you know what I mean? Like, they really kind of play up that sort of 1950s vibe, so it worked really well. At the end of the play, there's songs, and in the play you just get the lyrics, and of course it's been performed differently throughout the years. I mean, this is a 400-year-old play. 400, I don't know how old it is. It's old. It's old, 500, I think. But in this production, they set it to doo-wop music, and there's an actual dance scene. So it was just a delight. Like, I just had a big smile on my face watching this. I will say there were a few pretty minor changes from the actual play. Also, there's an error in this. It showed up when I listened to it, so I wasn't sure if it was, they mix up Mrs. Page and Mrs. Ford in one scene in this play, in this edition of it, which I thought was interesting because both the audiobook I listened to and the performance had it right, and this one was wrong, so I'm going to say this one's the one that was wrong. But there were minor changes. There are a few lines here or there, which are of their time. So those just weren't even in this production. Like, they just drew a line through it and it was gone, which is fine. It didn't affect the story at all. There are some minor changes to words. For example, when they're talking about currency in the play, they reference pounds. In this production, they said dollars. At the end, the big scene at the end is sort of this festival that they don't really, they talk about where it is, it's like Heron's Oak or something like that, but they don't say what it is. But in this production, they said it was Halloween, which it's Halloween of what we would recognize as Halloween. And which was perfect because in this everyone's in costume and everything. So that's how a modern audience would, that would make perfect sense for it to be Halloween. And they played up like the demons and the fairies, and it was very cute. But other than that, it was very close. A lot of the humor was physical, and it was therefore the interpretation of the director and the performers, but that's how every play is. And it was fun to see what they did with it. I would love to see a live production of the show. I think that it's probably a pretty easy show to do in that, as I've said before, not a lot of really deep themes. So you could just, it's pretty easy to make it funny, even when we have some of the humor was lost at time, if that makes any sense. So this production, I saw it through Broadway HD. It is, I believe it is available on Amazon Prime, but I'm not sure if it's free to stream or you have to buy it. You might be able to get DVDs of it through your library, and it might be on Canopy. I forgot to ask. And I can't remember if I said this because this is the second time I did this because someone called the first time I was trying to film. So I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I'm putting a link to the trailer down below so you can kind of get a feel of what it's like. So loved this production. It was just a delight. It was also, I mean, it's a stage production. There was an audience. This was a stage performance. They just filmed the performance, but the picture quality was really good. If you remember back when I was talking about The Winter's Tale, one of my issues was just the film quality was not very good. And it was the same situation. That was a much older recording. This is what, 5-6 years old. So 5 years old. So it looked great. So anyway, that is my production, the production I watched of the Merry Wives of Windsor. So now let's get to the rankings, which I forgot to do of this play. So if you missed the first time I did this with The Winter's Tale, I'm kind of grading each play on different sorts of scales, and then you're going to get a number, and that's going to be the ranking. So the first thing is rating. Like, what did I give this? How many stars did I give this when I rated it? This was an A for me, so it got 4. The reputation is like, how much did I kind of know of it going into it? Is it kind of known as one of Shakespeare's big plays? A 5 in this one would be like Hamlet or Macbeth. And a 0 would be, a 1, I guess, would be, I put The Winter's Tale down as 1 because I had no clue what this was about. I gave this a 3 because I've definitely heard of it. I kind of knew the story of what brought it forth. The whole thing about Queen Elizabeth I, obviously, wanting Shakespeare to write a Falstaff-centered play. I knew that. I did not know the story though. So when someone says Merry Wives of Windsor, I immediately know that's a Shakespeare play, even though it might not be the Shakespeare play that immediately pops into my mind. Then ease is my kind of the ease of understanding it as I'm reading it. And I gave it a 4. Again, I did do an immersive read of this, which I think does make a big difference, especially with comedy, because that's where I listen to it as I read it. Because some of the humor, they can kind of bring out vocally as they're saying it. And it might not be apparent if you're just reading it. So I did give this 4 for ease. And then characters, how fun are the characters? I gave this a 4. I probably would have given it, because there's some really fun characters in this. The reason I didn't give it a 5 is there's a lot of characters in this play. There are a lot of characters in this play. And I think there might be just too many at some point. I think that like some of those, I forgot who they are and I'm not sure why they're there. So, but the ones that I remember are actually really fun characters. And would I see this? I gave this 4 points. Because yes, I would definitely see it. Now, the difference between a 4 and a 5 is a 4 is if there's a production around me, I'm going to go see it. A 5 is I'm going to go find a production somewhere to go see it. So that's it. Now, the of its time, this is where so that gave me a total of 22 points. And then I'm taking off for of its time. I'm taking off 2 points because there were lines in there that were anti-Semitic. And this is generally, this is a role. This is a play that deals a lot with gender issues, which are obviously very early 17th century. So yeah, not as badly as The Winter's Tale, but yeah. So I gave this taking off 2 points for that, which gives me a total of 20 points and puts this in first place, no surprise, over The Winter's Tale, which only had 12 points. So we are done. Thank you for staying with me for the Merry Wives of Windsor. It was a lot of fun. The next play, which I have not yet started because, again, I am waiting for the audiobook to come in so I can do an immersive read, is Henry IV Part 1. I will be watching, as far as my performance, I will be watching The Hollow Crown, the episode that is Henry IV Part 1. And so that stars Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston and Jeremy Irons as Henry. Jeremy Irons as Henry the whatever. Henry the Third. I have a degree in this, I should know. Anyway, Henry the Fourth. You know what I'm saying. Yeah, he's Henry the Fourth, that's right. Tom Hiddleston is Henry V. But anyway, that's what I'm going to be watching. I've started it before and then I put it on hold when I started doing this. I'm like, I'm going to watch it with this. So I will go back and start it from the beginning. And that one, oh, I should also say that about this performance. I was watching this and my son came down and it actually caught his attention, the Merry Wives of Windsor performance. And he had some questions because he came in halfway through, but otherwise he had no trouble following it, which I thought was, I mean, for a 13-year-old boy that's pretty good. He may watch Henry the Hollow Crown with me because Tom Hiddleston, Loki's in it. Yeah. So, and the other thing, if you were not aware of this, Henry IV Part 1 also includes our dear friend Falstaff. So we will get Falstaff again this month. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for being with me. I'll see you again. So next week I will have my draw. It's not actually a draw because I can tell you what it is. And then we will start talking. I will, yes. So I will be gone. I'm going on vacation the end of this month. I will have a video planned for when I'm gone. So there will be a Wednesdays and we'll probably, I think that one will be talking about the Hollow Crown, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you very much. If you would like to join in this, even if it's just pop in for a play or two, we have a thread going on my Discord. Information's down below. It's called The Bard Room, easy to find. And we'd love to have you join us. So information to how to join is down below in the box. And like, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.